Welcome to another edition of the Tweet Show podcast. On this edition of the Tweet Show, we're going to do some NBA Finals preview, giving my thoughts and opinions on what to expect between the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics. So with that being said, let's start the show, I guess. So let's talk a little NBA here. So to recap of what's happened so far, the Golden State Warriors defeated the Dallas Mavericks in a 5-game series, and the Boston Celtics defeated the Miami Heat in a 7-game series. So we're start off with the Warriors here and give you my thoughts on them. So obviously they beat the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games. They've had a little bit more rest and more time for preparement, but obviously you don't know who you're playing yet until that previous Sunday when the Celtics and Miami were playing each other. So obviously you had to these probably took some time off a little bit, and then obviously you had to prepare for probably both scenarios in some way or fashion, I'm guessing. They probably they probably shouldn't say lean, but I would assume that just by guessing, I would say that they were probably leaning towards Boston or something like that, because I just saw a video, something about they were prepping for Boston because obviously it's Wednesday. So obviously, the finals are tomorrow. So anyway, sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. Okay, so I'm expecting the Warriors. I am picking the Warriors here to win the series. But my initial thoughts are the Warriors might be in a little trouble here with the Celtics. I think the Celtics kind of match up pretty well with them because of their size and length. Like Tatum and Brown and Marcus and Al Horford are going to be out there on the perimeters. I think they can guard pretty well. And obviously you're going to have to double team Steph. And if you double team Steph, then obviously you have Clay and Jordan and Wiggins. And Wiggins is going to be about the most important player in this series for the Warriors for them to succeed. If Jordan Poole or even Andrew Wiggins have good games, then like I said, the Warriors should win this series. But if Wiggins or Jordan Poole don't have good games in this series and in the finals, I think Celtics would most definitely win. But I'm expecting Wiggins and Poole to play at their highest level in this finals because this is for the championship, so I would expect Andrew, who's a former number 1 pick, to play at his best with the likes of Steph, Clay, and Draymond, who have all three of them have been in this situation before. I think you're also going to get back Iguodala, maybe. I mean, they're getting some two at least. Porter's coming back, and I do believe Iguodala is expected to at least maybe come back. We'll see, but it's not going to be a game 1 guaranteed. Most likely in game 2 for these guys, but like I said, I don't know the actual time frame, but I knew that I heard reports saying that they were going to try and give it a go for the NBA Finals through the way. So, and then they were talking about this on first take, who's the X factor in the series, and JJ Redick made a great point. Well, there's a difference between being the most important player and the X factor. The most important player for the Warriors is Steph Curry, and the X factor is Andrew Wiggins. Steph Curry, when he goes, they all go. He's the leader. He's when he has a good game, they all have good games. Then you're most likely to win if you're going to say if Steph Curry just has 25 points every night for the series. So, and then the Wiggins, obviously it's going to be the X factor because obviously he's going to help with his defensive presence a little bit, and then obviously his scoring has to be a major contribute for the team, I think. So, like I said, they got what Stephen A. Smith calls it the lethal 3, and then obviously, the lethal 3 get going, threes rain and fireballs and stuff like that. It's going to be pretty tough for the Celtics to like match with that, because obviously if their shots keep going in, I don't know if Celtics can match with them, because like you can't match Golden State. You can't trade baskets after baskets, because that's not what any team wants. You don't want to be in a track field with these guys, because if you start going up and down the court with them trading baskets, one missed shot and they're still going, because they're going to want to keep picking up the pace. They're going to want to keep going up and down and up and down. Like you just don't want to get in a track meet with these guys, because if you do, you're in trouble. You got to want to, like, obviously Dallas tried doing this in the previous series. They wanted to slow down the pace a bit, but I think the Celtics can keep up their pace, but like not at the pace that the Warriors really want to be at. Like obviously Celtics defense is really good and all that, and they have the length and the size to contest all their shots and being real physical with them, because I think Steph Curry is definitely he's vulnerable when the guards are being more physical than him, then, because like if he starts like, attacking the paint or something like that, and he believes that he's getting fouled, they're just playing basketball. Or maybe like Marcus Smart, for example, would guard Steph Curry, and let's say that Steph Curry was driving to the lane, and next thing you know, like Curry's like, "Hey, I just got fouled. You didn't call that?" And they're like, "No, there wasn't a foul." I'd be like, "Come on, man." It's being, in today's NBA, everybody talks about, oh, it's the league soft. You can't play physical with them. But it's like Celtics can play physical, I feel like. So it's gonna be interesting how this officiating is gonna be called in the series. So it'll be definitely interesting for sure. So, like I said, a little bit more about the Warriors here. Like I kind of thought about this when I was thinking about doing another episode for this. I was like, this could be like, so this is gonna be this is gonna be a little wordy here, and it's gonna be like an outlandish take, baby. But this is sort of like the Bulls dynasty in a way. It's not exactly, but it's the Warriors' own version of it. Obviously, Golden State, about when they won their first one, it was 2015, right? So that was like they were all young guys. They were all pretty young in their not in their primes yet, but just right at the cusp of it. So obviously they won their first one against the Cavaliers. Then the following year they won 73 games, but then obviously they lost. But then the next 2 years they won. So they won 3 out of the last 4. And then they went to the finals back again, but then they lost to Toronto. But that was because of injuries of Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson getting hurt. So it's like it was kind of a mini dynasty in a way. But obviously when, they've had a 2-year stretch where they didn't been in the playoffs, they weren't in the playoffs, but they just didn't make it to the finals or win a championship. And obviously now this year they're back. And now if they would happen to win this one, you couldn't, like, you can't say that they could, like Stephen A. Smith's talking about this on ESPN and the First Take stuff. He's like, he sees them winning the next 2 out of the 3. And it's like, it's a valid point. Like, I truly believe that they could, if they won this one, I think, because of the development of Jordan Poole and Kuminga and Moody, and you got James Wiseman. I think they got some young core guys out there, and I think they can definitely make a run here. And obviously the West is going to be very tough, because obviously you got a lot of good teams in there. So it's going to be interesting how that works with the West. But I kind of agree with Stephen A. Smith. Like, I think they're like everybody was talking about, like how their championship window was closing and they had like one chance, and this was probably their only chance. But I think they got a pretty good. And here's how I tie this back with the Bulls a bit. So if they win, then let's say they win this one, then they win the next like 2. So that would give the Warriors. That would give Steph and the Warriors 6 rings in the past, like, I don't know, I guess 10 years then. So, I mean, you couldn't say, I mean, you can't, I don't know. I don't want to compare dynasties, but it's the modern version of the Bulls in a certain way. Cause obviously Steph is so-called he would somewhat be Jordan in a way. He's the leader. He was there first. He's the one who got this thing going, got this train started. Then obviously you bring in Klay, who's their version of Scotty. But obviously they play 2 different positions. Either way, he's the Robin, they do, they go through ups and downs and they have success and all that other stuff. And then they bring in Draymond. Was it the same class? Either way, they bring in Draymond, who's their version of Dennis. Then obviously they bring in some of the key players, but obviously it's you can't compare them too much with the Bulls because obviously they didn't bring in the second best player in the world. They just had their core guys, like obviously Draymond and Steph and Clay. And obviously if you compare them with the Bulls a bit, you'd have to say that Jordan and Pippen and some of the other guys like Dennis and Steve and Kukoc and I'm trying to think of the other guys. But like, either way, I just think this is more the modern version of the Bulls dynasty in some capacity. You know what I'm saying? Like if people want to tell me now I'm stupid that this is nowhere near close in the Bulls dynasty, then sure, that's fine. I'm a Bulls fan, so I guess I could say this, but like I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting thought there because I was like, well, this would be the closest thing for us, like people my age, obviously, because when I was born, the Bulls dynasty was just ending, and obviously it's like I didn't really see a dynasty. I mean, I've seen dynasties, so I would say that I've seen like I'm mini dynasties. So the Bulls dynasty is basically a 10-year span almost. Obviously, you get the 2 years where the Rockets win those 2 titles when Jordan's not in the league, and then when Jordan comes back, they win 3 more. So it's like I don't know. I think this is more, like I said, this is more the modern version, like the more modern NBA dynasty here. Because if the Warriors truly do win one here, that would give Steph 4, right? I do believe so. That would give Steph 4. He'd be 4-2 in finals, and obviously it would definitely help him in his legacy talks. And we can talk about legacy stuff all we want about Steph. I truly believe he's definitely right now. I believe he's one of the top 12 to 15 best players of all time. You can have me debate about it, but I truly believe he's one of the top 15 or 12 best players of all time. Obviously, when it's a title this year, you can move him up a little bit closer to that top 10 range. All you want. We can, like I said, you can have discussions about it with your friends or me. I don't care. I like it's just my opinion. I believe so. And it's gonna be really interesting how Warriors how we as NBA fans and analysts view these Warriors through this, like when the Warriors are done and when the dynasty is over for them, when it's all said and done, we'll have to look back and see like how great of a dynasty this was. Obviously, like I said, this is totally different from the Bulls dynasty. They didn't bring in like they didn't bring in the second best player in the world. They didn't bring in Kevin Durant or something like that. They didn't build the super team, but like, it's a really, I think, like I said, this is the more modern version of the Bulls dynasty in a way. I mean, obviously I don't know. I just given it some thought. I was like, well, I mean, us more younger people are going to think, wow, man, I think these guys are one of the better dynasties in the world. And people in the 90s and 80s are going to talk about the Bulls and the Lakers and Celtics dynasties and all that other stuff. But like I just said, it's going to be interesting because, like, I think if the Warriors win the next, like, let's just say, like Stephen A says, let's say the Warriors do win the next 2 out of 3 titles in the next 3 years, I would think that would be a successful dynasty there because they would win 3 out of the last 4 and their first 4 years of going to the NBA Finals. They won 3 out of the last 5. They won 3 out of 5, making appearance, and then obviously they win. Let's say they make another 3 trips there, and then they win another 2. So that adds up to 5. So you're 5-3. You're 5-3 both times. 8 trips. You're 5-3. I would think that'd be pretty good. I would think that'd be one of the better dynasties in NBA history. So, like I said, I know I'm not an NBA history guy, so I'm sure some of the old guys are like, oh, talk about Bill Russell, Bob Cousy. Well, they're firemen and plumbers. No, I'm just kidding. That's what JJ Redick thinks, though. But either way, let's get to the Celtics side of things. So with the Celtics, it's going to be interesting because obviously this is kind of their, I wouldn't say their championship window's open. It's like, I'm not going to, I don't know how would I want to phrase this. I want to phrase this correctly with the Celtics because obviously they have a time frame because obviously they're young. Their guys are so young. They have so many years, but obviously you never know when you're going to get back to the situation in the NBA Finals. It's very hard to get back to the NBA Finals. Ask Giannis. So, and ask like so many other players like Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry and so many others that have been to the NBA Finals and haven't been back for a while. So let's talk here. So the Celtics obviously have young guys like Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart, and I guess Grant Williams. Let's just throw his name in the hat. So obviously you have these young guys who are still in their young prime careers. Obviously Tatum's like 24, so he's still got a lot of basketball left in him. And he's not even hit his prime yet. He's one of the better players in NBA history. Or not in NBA history, but in the NBA right now. He's one of the better players in the NBA right now. And obviously you have Jaylen Brown. He's one of the, I guess, top 20 better players in the NBA too. He's a really solid player. He's a great player. And we can talk about how I just, I've given it some thought about Jaylen Brown. Like, I think he's a really good player. I have no problem with him. And I was texting somebody about this. I'm like, he's just like, I said something. It was a really dumb take. I'm now looking back on it. It probably is a stupid take, but maybe I was thinking about it. I probably used the wrong word when it comes to Jaylen Brown because I don't want to show any disrespect to Jaylen Brown because I think he's a fantastic player. He's a good player, solid player, does a lot of good things. But then there are moments where you go, is he really one of the better players on the Celtics right now? Like, because, in the early stages of the Celtics, they talk about, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum can't really coexist. They can't work together. I feel like they weren't players that they were wanting because both of them and their mindsets probably thought that I'm the top dog. I'm going to do it. And obviously, and then they realized that Tatum is now the Batman and Jaylen, you got to be Robin. And I think Brown finally just accepted that he was going to be Robin. And obviously, Robin can have great nights too. When he had that one good, I think it was the 49-point game, and he had, like I said, he can have nights like that. And so I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world if you have Robin who can score you 30 when he needs to. But obviously, you lean on Batman to get you wins. So I just thought to myself, like, is Jaylen really is Jaylen what I think that we all think of him, or is he just because he's an interesting player? Like I still don't know if I'm using the correct word. I should have done like more research on what word I was looking for because I was like, I want to find the right word for Jaylen. Like I just want to. Like he's a really good player though. Like don't get me wrong. I need to find a word because he's not. I don't want to say he's overrated because that's what I used. That's what I said first. I thought he was like, is he overrated? I think he might be overrated. But I was like, nope, he's not overrated. That was a bad word of choice for Jaylen because I don't think he's overrated. Thinking about it now, I'm like, nope, that was a bad word choice of saying that Jaylen Brown was overrated, which he's not. I think he's a fantastic player. Like I said, I was trying to think of a word like he's a very, very good player. He's not a great player. He's a very, very good player. Like he's just sometimes like, and this is kind of like with Marcus Smart too. It's like he shows greatness and then he shows that he's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you playing like this right now? Like, why are you dribbling so bad? Why are you taking bad shots? Like all these things. You just go question marks and you go, what is wrong with him today? I guess I still haven't found the word yet or how to describe Jaylen Brown. Maybe someone out there in the comments or just in the Twitterverse can tell me how you would best describe Jaylen Brown because I still don't know how to describe him. Like I said, I don't want anybody getting my words twisted. I think he's a fantastic player. He's one of the top 25, top 20 better players in the NBA. I truly believe that. But I just want to find a word that best describes him. I want to find something that best describes him as a player. And maybe I hope to God someone can help me find it. So either way, let's keep moving here. Like I said, we'll talk about championship windows with them. So we're talking about youth and all this. So it's going to be interesting to see how if this is going to be like a one-time thing for another like 5 years, because obviously previous to this finals appearance, They were like 0 for 4, maybe 0 for 4, something like that. They were 0 for 4 in conference finals. And like Tatum couldn't get over the hump and all these things. They lost to LeBron his like rookie year, and then they lost to Giannis that 1 year, and then Giannis, and then they lost to the Heat in the bubble. So it's been interesting, and how how they just don't capitalize on it. And this is another thing I thought about this. And this may be a really hot take. It might be one of the better, really crazy hot takes out there. And I'll just talk about this a little bit because I want to get on a ramble here about it. But I don't know. I just thought about this. I was like, if you just take out, let me give you some more context here about what I'm about to say. What I'm about to say is going to sound a little bit crazy. Like, it might be a really dumb take, which it could be. Like, I'll accept that. I think it might be one of the dumber ones. Like I said with Jaylen Brown too. But I think this is more of I think this is actually more of a valid point, but like not a valid. But anyway, let's talk about this. So I thought, are the Boston Celtics like a really good franchise, or are they a bit overrated? Because if you think about it, like if you completely take out Bill Russell's 11 championships, and from Bird's era on, they're okay. They're okay. Like, they're like the Chicago Bulls in a way. Like I said, I don't want any Boston fans or just people come at me. Let me talk it out. Let me talk it through. So I thought about this. It's like they're a tiny bit overrated as a franchise, just simply as a franchise. They've had great players in the past and all this. Don't get me wrong. But as a franchise, I feel like they're a tiny bit overrated. I feel like we don't need to put them on this platform. Like, I think we can say this for a lot of NBA franchises. We can absolutely say this for the Chicago Bulls, that's for sure. And we can say this about I was going to say the Knicks, but the Knicks are always overrated and they're always irrelevant. But like, we always talk about the Boston Celtics, like we always put these guys on such high stools and high platforms and just high standards and all this stuff. It's like, are they really a good franchise? Like, I get it, they have all these championships, but 11 out of the 17 are from Bill Russell, for God's sakes. I mean, my God, you only have titles from Larry Bird and the big three in Boston. So it's like, there's a time period after Larry Bird was done playing for the Boston Celtics. The Celtics didn't hardly win championships again until like 2009 when they won their first one prior to Larry Bird. So it's like, I get it. It's very hard to win championships in the league, but you're the Boston Celtics though. Aren't you about winning championships? So it's interesting. Like, I just think, like I said, I don't want anybody getting mad. I don't want any of these Boston Celtics fans getting mad at me and telling me I'm stupid and all this stuff. Like, I just want to have a conversation about it. Like, I get it. They truly are one of the better franchises, I think, in the NBA. But can we somewhat agree that they're a slight bit overrated as a franchise? Like, I think the Bulls and the Celtics and who's the other one I thought about? That's tiny, but that's overrated too. Gosh, I was thinking about it. I was like, damn, who was it? Oh gosh. Hold on. Let me get. Okay, obviously we can. Nope, never mind. I was gonna say Lakers, but I think they've been more consistent a bit than the Celtics. But let me just look up the most titles here. NBA championships. All right, here we go. List of champions. Okay, here we go. Let's find out who's been champions. It's all by team. So obviously you got the Lakers and Celtics tied at 17 championships. The Lakers have been to 32 title games, and the Celtics have been to 22. They're 17-4, so they've only lost 4 times. They lost in 58, 85, 87, 2010. So they haven't been to the NBA Finals since 2010. I mean, that's saying something a little bit. And obviously we could, well, I guess we could say the same thing about the Lakers, but that's because like they after Kobe they were I guess yeah we could say the Lakers too. I don't know. Now I'm thinking that I'm stupid and like we could say a lot of teams are overrated, but like I don't know. I just meant more as a franchise that the Celtics are a tiny bit overrated because like look at all these championships. They have ones from 1957, 1958, 1960, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 68, 69, 74, 76, 81, 84, 86. So from 1957 to about 86, they won all these championships. But after 86, it was no championships. Then finally they won it again in 08. Then after 08, they didn't win another one again. So I think the Golden State Warriors are a bit more, I think they're a better franchise than the Celtics are. And I get it. They've had 4 losses. But again, 4 of those losses were like, one loss was in 58 with Bill Russell. Somehow Bill Russell lost 1 championship somehow. Good. It's a miracle. And then also you got 2 losses as with Larry Bird in them. Then you lost it in 2010 when you had played the Lakers again. So, and then you have the Warriors and Bulls who both have 6. Like I said, I can completely agree that the Bulls are a bit overrated as a franchise too. I think the 76ers are most definitely overrated. As heck. It's remarkable that they're up. The Celtics, the 76ers, that's what I was thinking of. The 76ers are so overrated. So those are my 2. Like I said, you can come at me. Tell me that I'm stupid. That's fine. I give it some thought. I was like, you know what? This might be a very, very hot take, which it might be. And I hope somebody tells me that I'm wrong or just give me more factual facts about it. So either way, all right, let's get back on point. I got on a little bit of rant there. So let's get back on point. This current finals, not the previous past 75 years of finals, but let's get back to this one. So I was saying, what was I going to say now? Now I'm lost with this whole Boston Celtics being overrated. But either way, let's talk about this current Celtics team, and let's talk about how they can easily win this championship. We could talk about how Jason Tatum needs to have like his best games of all time. Like he just not all time, but like when he just really needs to put on. Cannot have a drop off game. Cannot have like a 15-point game. Any of that. He's got to keep the gas. Got to put his foot to the pedal. He's got to keep going. He's got to average like almost 20. Average over 25 points if you're going to win this series. Because I think this is his moment to take. Like if he wants to win this championship, he's got to go for it now. Like he's got to get it now. Because like I said before, we don't know when he's getting back to this situation. And obviously, you got to start somewhere. So once he gets here, maybe he finally can get going on getting more opportunities to win championships. But like I said, it's very hard to get to championship games. And obviously, very few have only done it a lot of times. Obviously, like Tom Brady and LeBron and Steph. And those are like one of the top graded players. Those are like the greatest players of all time in their sport, respectively. So it'll be interesting to see how Tatum takes on his responsibility as the go-to guy and how to get his team to the goal of winning this championship. Like I think that Tatum is definitely going to be the driving force for this Celtic team, and also the most important player for this team is definitely going to be Marcus Smart. That's for sure. And I think another key component for this Celtic team is going to be Al Horford and how well he plays and how well he defends the guys on the wings like Clay, Steph, and Jordan, and even I guess Andrew. Just all those guard plays. All those guards and for the Warriors. So it's going to be interesting how they like approach this, because like, are they gonna attempt to play Robert Williams at all? Because I know that obviously the Warriors have Kevin Looney, but I'm intrigued to see how like both teams are going to approach this. Or both teams going to just play small ball a lot of the time, or are they going to play a little bit of Kevin or Robert? Because Robert's mainly just a defensive player for them. He's not much of an offensive guy, so it'll be interesting seeing how the Celtics how they approach this, or how the Warriors might play, what style of play we might get from either team. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of like series we'll get here. So it'll be interesting on game one what to expect going forward in this series with Celtics and Warriors. And obviously, like, you can tell by like, obviously another key thing about this series is how is Marcus Smart going to defend Steph Curry. So it'll be interesting to see how Steph gets guarded by Marcus. And I briefly talked about this in the Warriors side of things. And, if Marcus gets physical and roughs up Steph a little bit, I think Steph will have a long time in the long series going ahead in this series. So it'll be interesting how Marcus plays defensively, like if he'll use all his energy on the defensive side, or if he'll get or he'll use some of his energy on the defense and then save it up for the offensive end. Because I think he'll be having to most definitely going to have to score a little bit more than he typically does for this series. But maybe I'm wrong. That's just my thoughts. I think he's got to score a little bit more for them to like have a chance of winning this series. But it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be an interesting game one for sure to see who does well in matchups, and like what matchups can we expect in this series. So like I said, I think Curry will definitely get guarded by Marcus, and I think Clay will get guarded by Jaylen, and Wiggins and Tatum will probably go up against each other a bit. I think Tatum will also take the challenge guarding Clay, but obviously Celtics do a lot of switching. So, I mean, at this point, like, anybody would be guarding anybody. So like Tatum can easily be guarding Curry, and then obviously Curry can try his best and take advantage of it. But like Tatum's such a pretty good defensive player, he can stay with them. But like the thing is about the Steph is like he can move so well without the ball. Like he'll start here and then move here, boom, boom, and then get back here and then move back again. He'll just keep going everywhere on the court. It's like you have to stay with him at all times. You can't let go, hey, switch, and go, wait, what? And then next thing you know, he's wide open for three. You have to communicate with your teammate and yourself to stay with him at all times. There has to be so much communications with both your teammate and everyone on the court. So it'll be interesting to see how the Celtics approach this defensively, how they're going to approach Steph and the other guys on the court. Because like obviously the Warriors offense is such movement. Like there's so many movements going around the court. So it'll be interesting to see how the Celtics are going to approach that. Like if they're just going to do some switching, because if there's going to be some switching, I feel like then the Warriors are going to take some advantage of that. They're going to like switch. They're going to like go past each other, and then a person might be wide open for a cut or something like that. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a lot of opportunities to score for the Warriors. So like I said, I think it's going to be interesting to see how the Celtics approach this series defensively. I think that's one of the bigger keys for the Celtics is like, how are you going to approach this defensively? I don't know what the season was like or what, I'm sure they played each other in the regular season, but I just don't know what kind of stats or how many games the Warriors and Celtics played. Like, I don't know. I didn't really do any research on that, but either way, I think, like I said, this could be a fun series for sure. I think this is definitely going to go to the length. It's not going to be like a 4-game or 5-game series. This is definitely will go the length. 6 to 7 games at most. At the very most, it will go definitely 6 to 7 games. That's for sure. This is not going to be a cakewalk for either squad. This is going to be a tough one for both the Celtics and the Warriors. So, like I said, I am going to pick the Golden State Warriors to win in 6 games, and Steph finally gets that Finals MVP. So let me do a little bit. No, never mind. I would want to save all my picks for for the next episode because I don't know what to expect game by game by game because something could happen in the first game. Because what if I said the Warriors win the first two and the Celtics win the next two and at their place? So what if it is different? So like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how this series goes. I'm very excited for this series. I'm very excited for the Warriors and Celtics. I think this is probably one of the better matchups for the NBA. I think whoever wins this title very much well deserves it. That's for sure. There's going to be no Mickey Mouse. I'm sure there's going to be some people that will put some acts, put like the asterisk on it. So, they did blah, 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 injuries, blah, blah, blah. They didn't play who, blah, blah. So, I mean, you got to play who you got to play in front of you. So, it doesn't matter who you played. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody listening to this edition of the Tweet Show. If you're listening to this, you can also watch this on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can go listen to it on whatever podcast platform you listen into on Apple, Spotify, Google, some others, or just on Anchor too. So with that being said, though, I appreciate everybody listening. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and all the platforms you listen to on podcasting. And then subscribe to the YouTube channel. I will be having my first vlog coming out here pretty soon. I'm going on a trip here, so I'm going to be doing some vlogging there. And so I'll have some videos, and I'll have my first official vlog for the channel. So that'll be fun to do. So with that being said, like I said, subscribe, like the video, comment. Just comment about anything you'd like to comment about. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody watching the video and more. So with that being said, thank you very much. I'll see you guys next time.